My child, I have been waiting for this moment with you. Not for a few brief seconds, but through a long season of quietness, watching to see if your heart would recognize that something was stirring around you. I am not usually one who waits when it is time to act. Yet this time I allowed the silence to linger, because I wanted you to feel the importance of what I am about to reveal. There has been something working against you in hidden places, and tonight it is being brought into the light. For a long time you have carried a pressure you could never fully explain. You felt it before you had words for it. You felt it in the nights when sleep would not come easily, and in the mornings when the weight on your spirit seemed heavier than the day itself. Hear me clearly, that pressure was real. It was never a product of your imagination, and it was never a sign of weakness. It was the tension of something concealed, trying to remain concealed while heaven was already moving to expose it. There has been a quiet effort operating in the shadows, watching your life, observing your decisions, and paying attention to the hopes you kept close to your heart. The purpose was simple: to slow what was prepared for you, or to prevent it from ever reaching your hands. But that effort was never going to reach its conclusion. I saw every hidden influence that attempted to move against you, and I tell you plainly that none of it will remain standing. You do not need every detail. You do not need to unravel every thread of what has been happening behind the scenes. What you need to know is that it has already been uncovered, and I am the one who uncovered it. I do not allow what belongs to you to be taken by another, nor do I allow what was intended to bless you to be twisted into something harmful. Before you ever realized there was a battle taking place, I was already standing in the middle of it. This is not meant to fill you with fear. It is meant to awaken your awareness. Fear causes a person to shrink back and hide. Awareness brings freedom. Tonight, I am giving you awareness. I want you to move forward without constantly wondering what was happening around you. Instead, I want you to walk with confidence, knowing that my eyes were on every part of your journey. Think about those quiet seasons that seemed to stretch on endlessly. Think about the doors that remained closed, no matter how many times you knocked. There was purpose hidden within those delays. What appeared to be absence was never absence at all. I was working beyond what your eyes could see, preparing a path that was not yet ready for you to walk. I was making room for what was ahead before asking you to step into it. My beloved, some of the weight you have been carrying was never yours to bear. Part of it came from those who watched you, only to find ways to slow your progress. I saw it all. I have always seen it. I saw every restless thought that crossed your mind, every concern you never spoke aloud, every prayer whispered in moments when you felt completely alone. Not one of them escaped my attention. I received every single one. Tonight I am pulling back the curtain on what has been taking place in unseen places around you. I am doing this to free you, not to alarm you. You sensed that something was wrong, even when you could not explain why. You felt your peace being challenged by forces beyond your own understanding. That feeling was not without reason, and now you can sense a shift beginning because the season of hidden interference is coming to an end, and a season of open blessing is beginning to rise in its place. There is no plan formed against you that can outlast my hand upon your life. Let that truth settle deeply within you. Let it become a foundation beneath your feet. What was intended to confuse you will become part of what brings clarity. What was intended to delay you will become evidence of how carefully I have guided you all along. Rest your spirit for a moment. Sit with that truth. You do not have to solve everything tonight. I am not asking you to search through the darkness looking for answers. I am asking you to trust that I have already dealt with what needed to be dealt with. What comes next will carry my fingerprints upon it, not the marks of those who tried to stand in your way. I know there were nights when you replayed the same questions over and over, wondering why peace always seemed just beyond your reach. I know there were moments when you examined your own choices, searching for a reason and wondering whether you had somehow caused what you were feeling. Release that burden now. Nothing within you was broken. The struggle was never rooted in some hidden flaw inside you. There was something outside of you pushing against the timing I had already established, and I have stepped in to set things right. This is the kind of love I have for you. It is a love that moves before it is asked. I did not wait for you to recognize the danger before I acted. I moved because you belong to me, and because what concerns you has always mattered to me. Even during the seasons when you felt forgotten, I was already working on your behalf in places you could not yet see. So let this be the moment you stop expecting disappointment at every turn and begin opening your hands to receive. The heaviness you have carried was never your permanent future. It was a season, and seasons do not remain forever. I have already gone ahead of you, removing obstacles before you even knew they existed. Listen carefully, my child. You are not entering this next chapter by yourself, and you are not entering it without protection. Hidden things are being brought into the light, not for shame, but for freedom. What was intended to slow you down will become part of the reason you move forward more freely than before. I'm turning what was meant for harm into something that supports your next steps. Declare your amen if your heart receives this truth. There has been a battle surrounding you that your natural eyes could not see, yet your spirit sensed it. You felt a tension around your life that was difficult to explain. Something was watching your steps, your finances, your relationships, and even the hopes you carried privately, attempting to delay the good prepared for you before it ever reached you. But I tell you now, that effort has failed. I do not allow what belongs to you to be handed over to those whose intentions are only to take. I have watched over your path with a closeness beyond what you can measure. When I saw what was being formed against you, I moved quickly to dismantle it. The moment your name came under threat, I stood between you and what was approaching, and I have remained there ever since. You may wonder how something so hidden could be undone so completely. My child, and nothing remains hidden from me. What is spoken in secret reaches my ears as clearly as words spoken in the open. There is no scheme against you whose ending I have not already seen. And I tell you plainly that the outcome of this one is freedom. Those who observed your life from a distance believed they understood what they were seeing. They saw your circumstances, your struggles, and the slower seasons of your journey. Yet they only saw the surface. They could not see what I see. They could not see the purpose I placed within you long before you understood it yourself. What they hoped to study and use against you was never truly available to them because you belonged to me. So release any desire to retaliate. Release the need to uncover every detail of what was done. That responsibility does not belong to you. Your responsibility is to keep moving forward in the freedom I am giving you while I continue handling what was set in motion against you. Let it go, my child, because I am already caring for it far more completely than you ever could on your own. There will be people who behave differently during this season. Some spoke about you when you were not present. Some quietly stepped away without ever explaining why. Do not spend your energy chasing them for answers. I am not asking you to uncover every hidden conversation or expose every person involved. I am asking you to trust that nothing escapes my sight, and that whatever was done in secret will, in time, be brought into the light. It will happen because truth has a way of revealing itself. It does not require you to force it into the open. This is not the season for defending yourself before people who formed their opinions long before they knew the whole story. This is the season to be still and allow me to work on your behalf. The way I bring justice is different from the way the world does. I move quietly, patiently, and completely until the very thing meant to weaken you becomes part of what strengthens you. You are no longer the same person who first noticed that unsettling feeling settling over your days. What seemed like confusion was actually a form of protection, keeping your spirit alert while I was working behind the scenes. That uneasiness was never proof of weakness. It was evidence that your spirit sensed something your mind could not yet fully understand. You were paying attention even before you had language for what you were feeling. So let your shoulders relax for a moment. Let some of that tension begin to leave your body. You have carried it for a long time. You do not have to remain on constant alert the way you once did. I am the one standing watch now, and I neither grow weary nor look away. What was being formed against you is already beginning to unravel, piece by piece, in places beyond your sight. Before long, you will start noticing the difference. Your days will feel lighter. Your thoughts will feel clearer. This unveiling is only the beginning of a much greater work, one that reaches into your circumstances and even into the way you see yourself. There is a particular kind of relief that comes after spending a long time preparing for impact. You have lived with a quiet caution beneath everything, a feeling that prevented you from fully resting, even when life seemed calm. My child, that constant hum is beginning to fade. You will notice it first in small and gentle ways. An easier breath, a calmer mind, a night of rest that arrives without the familiar weight pressing against your chest. I want you to hear me today. Want you to hear me today. Sense a struggle before I fully revealed it. It was never because I delayed in protecting you. It was because I was preparing your spirit to recognize my hand when the moment came. Had I removed every difficulty before you sensed the battle, you would have missed what I was teaching you through it. Instead, I allowed you to feel the burden so that when it lifted, you would know exactly who lifted it. This is often how I work in the lives of those I love. I walk beside them through the struggle, and later I reveal all the places where I was already moving. One day, you will look back and see it more clearly than you can right now. The delays that frustrated you, the doors that refused to open, the people who unexpectedly stepped away, none of it was random. There was a greater protection at work that you could not yet see. Do not allow bitterness to take root where I am planting something new. Bitterness will only slow the freedom I am placing before you. Place it in my hands instead. Let me carry what was never meant for you to hold. There are burdens you were never created to manage alone. You are moving into a season where my protection will feel different. It will feel less like constantly hiding behind a shield and more like running freely across an open field without needing to look over your shoulder. That is what I am building for you now, a place of safety so complete that fear loses its hold on your daily life. Declare your faith today. Say, I trust the one who sees what I cannot. My beloved, I want to speak to the part of you that has felt overlooked for far too long. There were nights when sleep stayed distant, and your mind circled around the same worries again and again. There were moments when you wondered whether anyone truly understood how heavy your spirit had become. I noticed. I was there in those quiet hours, close enough to hear every question you never spoke aloud. You were never carrying that burden by yourself, even when it felt that way. The heaviness you experienced was never evidence of weak faith. There are seasons when unseen battles press more intensely against a person's spirit. That pressure does not come because they are weak. It comes because something meaningful is taking shape, and meaningful things often encounter resistance. You were not falling apart during those difficult months. You were standing firm in a battle you could not fully see. I saw your endurance. I saw the days when you kept moving forward while feeling exhausted inside. I saw the moments when you smiled for others while carrying concerns you could barely explain. None of it escaped my notice. I know you searched for explanations. You wondered whether it was something you had done, something you had said, or something you had failed to do. My child, release that search. Not every disturbance of peace begins with your own choices. Some of it comes from forces pushing against the purpose I have placed within your life. Those forces recognized that something good was growing and tried to stop it before it could fully emerge. Yet what I plant has never been successfully extinguished, and it will not be now. What was intended to discourage you has become evidence of how close you are to breakthrough. The resistance you felt was never proof that you were far from my blessing. It was evidence that you were standing nearer to it than you realized. I want you to view those restless nights differently from this day forward. Do not see them as proof that something was wrong with you. See them as signs that something was shifting. There is often tension before release. There is often pressure before an answer arrives. What you experienced was part of that process, and you are closer now than you have ever been to the relief that follows. There is a deep weariness that comes from carrying something too long without ever setting it down. I see that weariness in you. I see the exhaustion that settled into places words could hardly reach. And I am gently asking you to place it at my feet, not because I demand it from you, but because I love you enough to carry what was never meant for your shoulders. You were not created to bear unseen battles alone. You were created to walk with me. In that partnership, I carry what is too heavy, and you move forward lighter, freer, and clearer than before. Let this truth settle beyond your thoughts and into your body. Take a slow breath. Feel your shoulders loosen, even if only slightly. That small release is where freedom begins. It may not happen all at once. Healing rarely unfolds that way, but it begins the moment you stop gripping what has exhausted you and start trusting that I can hold it more securely than you ever could. This season of unexplained heaviness is coming to a close. I am not saying every challenge disappears overnight, because growth seldom works that way. But I am telling you that the deepest part of this struggle, the part that made you wonder whether you could continue, has already reached its highest point. From here, the path becomes gentler. The climb becomes lighter. I have carried you through the hardest stretch of this season, and I am still walking beside you now. And now, my child, I am inviting you to walk with me into what comes next. This next step asks for more than agreement in your heart. It asks for trust that can be seen. Faith that remains hidden within can become still and unmoving, but faith that steps forward becomes a doorway into something greater. I am asking you to place a portion of what you have before me, something that carries genuine value, as an offering connected to this work and this calling. Let it be released freely, like a seed planted where you cannot yet see the harvest. Let it rest in my hands without fear holding it back. In doing so, you demonstrate that your trust is rooted in my ability to provide, and that your heart is no longer being governed by scarcity. What you release through faith is not lost. It moves ahead of you into what I am already preparing. I want you to understand what takes place when you respond this way. I do not ask because I lack anything. I ask because the act of releasing loosens the grip that fear and lack have tried to maintain over your life. Every time you have clung tightly to something out of fear that letting go would leave you empty, you have unknowingly resisted a door I was opening before you. Think about the difference between a closed hand and an open one. A closed hand can hold tightly to what it already possesses, but it cannot receive anything new. An open hand may feel vulnerable for a moment, yet it remains ready to receive what is being placed into it. I am asking you to become that open hand today, not because I desire to take from you, but because I desire to fill what you release with something greater. This is not about earning my favor. My favor was already resting upon you long before this moment arrived. Long before you considered taking a step like this, my care for you was already established. This is about bringing your actions into agreement with what your heart already believes. Faith that never moves remains an idea. Faith expressed through surrender becomes a testimony that stays with you long after the moment itself has passed. My child, what has been delayed is beginning to move. I know there were seasons when it felt as though every door remained closed, no matter how patiently you waited. I know there were moments when you watched others receive the very things you had been praying and hoping for. Quietly, you wondered whether your own opportunity would ever arrive. Hear me clearly, your moment was never forgotten. It has been prepared with care in places you could not yet see, and now it is drawing near. The waiting was not empty. Those years were not wasted. What felt like standing still was filled with purpose, even when you could not recognize it at the time. Every season of delay was also a season of preparation. I was preparing you, and I was preparing what you would one day receive. Some blessings require growth before they can be carried well, and throughout this journey I have been shaping you into someone capable of holding what is coming without being overwhelmed by it. You may notice the smaller changes first. A conversation unfolds differently than you expected. Clarity arrives where confusion once lingered. An idea comes to you with unusual simplicity, as though it had been waiting for the right moment to reach you. These moments are not accidents. They are the first signs of restoration quietly beginning to move through your life. What was lost through delay, interference, or circumstances beyond your control is being returned. Yet I do not restore things exactly as they were before. I restore them in a way that reflects the work that has happened in the meantime. What returns carries my favor upon it and arrives shaped for the person you have become. What you lost was never the final chapter. It was a pause before something fuller could emerge. So release the habit of measuring your life against the lives of others. Their timeline is not your timeline. What arrived quickly for someone else does not mean you were forgotten. It simply means your path required a different pace and a different preparation. Comparison will only distract you from the unique way I am working within your own story. Set it down and pay attention to what is unfolding before you. There is a clarity coming that may surprise you with its simplicity. Decisions that once felt impossible will begin to feel straightforward. Roads that seemed tangled and uncertain will gradually become clear. The fog that surrounded your thinking is beginning to lift. Much of what clouded your vision came from pressures working against you, and that influence is losing its hold. What remains is a clearer understanding of where you are going and what I am asking of you. The road ahead will become easier to recognize. Pay attention to the people who begin drawing near during this season. Some relationships are being restored. This does not mean the hurt of the past was insignificant. It means healing is taking place where distance once existed, and understanding is growing where confusion once remained. Other relationships will continue fading away, and that is part of this process as well. Releasing them is not necessarily a loss. Sometimes it is simply making room for what is being prepared. I am rebuilding your sense of safety from the foundation upward, creating something far stronger than what existed before. For a long time, safety felt fragile to you. It felt like something that had to be guarded constantly, something that could disappear at any moment. I am replacing that fragile security with something deeper, rooted in my unchanging presence rather than in changing circumstances. Circumstances will continue to shift, but what I am building within you will remain steady. You are entering a season where provision may come in unexpected ways. Opportunities may appear where you did not anticipate them. Generosity may arrive when you need it most. Resources may show up at the exact moment they are required. This is how restoration often works. It rarely announces itself with great noise. Instead, it arrives quietly, consistently, and faithfully, until one day you realize that what once felt scarce has been replaced by dependable provision. Hold firmly to this truth in the days ahead. Restoration is rarely a single moment. More often it unfolds gradually, layer upon layer, until its fullness becomes visible. Trust that process even when you cannot yet see the finished picture. I have never abandoned the work after beginning it, and I will not begin doing so now. I know there were moments when your patience felt exhausted. There were times when you wondered whether you had misunderstood what you believed I was showing you. There were moments when you questioned whether the hope you carried was genuine wisdom or simply a wish you were afraid to release. My child, remain steady. What I speak, I bring to fulfillment, even when the waiting lasts longer than you hoped it would. The distance between a promise and its arrival is never empty. It is sacred ground where your faith sinks deeper roots, growing strong enough to carry what is on its way. Think about how a single season can reshape an entire life. One conversation can open a door that years of effort could never move. Even now I am arranging people, timing, and opportunities in ways too detailed for you to fully trace. You do not need to understand every piece of the pattern. You only need to trust the one who is placing the pieces together. In the days ahead, there will be moments when an unexpected lightness settles over you. Nothing around you may appear different, yet something within you will feel calmer. Do not dismiss those moments. They are quiet reminders that movement has already begun on your behalf, in places your eyes cannot see. There will be things you recognize in your spirit before you can explain them with words. That awareness is part of the restoration taking place within you. I am also restoring your ability to dream again. For a long time, hope felt dangerous because disappointment left wounds that ran deeper than most people knew. I understand why your heart became careful. I saw the prayers you stopped mentioning because you were tired of carrying unmet expectations. I saw the dreams you quietly placed on a shelf because it hurt too much to keep reaching for them. Yet I am asking you now to risk hoping again, because what I have prepared is too precious to remain untouched simply because fear convinced you to stop expecting it. Allow your heart to open wider than it has in a long time. Make room for what is coming, even if it feels larger than what you once thought possible. Declare it boldly today. Say, I receive what you are restoring in my life. My beloved, something is taking place over your life right now. It cannot be seen with natural eyes, yet your spirit can feel it. I am setting a foundation beneath you for what lies ahead. This is not because you have earned a position above anyone else, but because what comes next requires strength, stability, and preparation. You are being established and made ready. I want you to hear me today, what that means. It means that what I have spoken over your life cannot be undone by outside voices. Others may try to define you by former struggles, by seasons when you felt overlooked, forgotten, or misunderstood. But their words have no authority over what I have already declared. I have called you forward into purpose, and that purpose does not depend upon another person's approval. It rests upon my word, and my word remains unchanged. There is a confidence that grows from knowing this, a steadiness that remains even when circumstances around you seem uncertain. I am giving you that confidence now, not as something you must earn through effort, but as a gift rooted in the truth of who you are to me. You do not have to prove yourself worthy. You do not have to strive for what I have already spoken. You only need to receive it. Those who once watched your life looking for weakness will begin to encounter a strength they never expected. I have been working quietly beneath the surface, transforming what appeared fragile into resilience. There are areas where you once felt vulnerable that now carry a strength even you did not realize had been formed. Situations that once would have shaken you deeply will no longer hold the same power. Challenges may still come, but they will not find the same fear they once found. The peace I have been building within you is becoming stronger than the pressure around you. This is what it means to walk in what I have placed upon your life. It does not mean difficulties disappear. It means difficulties no longer control you the way they once did. You will still face challenges, just as everyone does, but you will face them from a place of stability rather than anxiety. You will respond differently because something within you has changed. Pay attention to the small signs of that change. You may notice yourself responding with patience where frustration once rose quickly. You may discover clarity appearing in situations that previously overwhelmed you. You may find the right words arriving at the right moment, bringing comfort or wisdom to someone else without effort or strain. These quiet moments matter. They are evidence of my work flowing through your everyday life. They may seem ordinary, yet they reveal something deeper taking root within you. Often, the greatest transformations are recognized through small changes before they are seen in larger ways. Do not confuse this work with perfection. I am not asking you to become flawless before you can carry what I have called you to carry. I am asking you to stay close to me. Remain grounded in the truth of who I created you to be, even on days when you stumble or feel uncertain. What I have placed over your life rests upon my faithfulness, not your perfection, and my faithfulness has never failed. There may be moments when old fears try to return. There may be days when familiar thoughts whisper that nothing has really changed, and that the heaviness will eventually come back. When those moments come, remember what I have spoken to you. Remember that something shifted on your behalf. Remember that this change is not temporary. It has become part of the person you are becoming. The season has shaped you, but it no longer defines you. You are not the same person who entered this season. The struggles taught you many things, but they do not determine your identity. What defines you now is what I have spoken over your life. You belong to me. You are protected. You are being guided toward purposes far greater than your present circumstances might suggest. Carry this truth with you as something settled and secure. Let it become more than an emotional moment. Let it become a foundation beneath your feet. As this confidence grows deeper within you, you will notice that the opinions of people who misunderstood you begin to lose their grip. The approval you once searched for in others will become less important, because you will recognize the acceptance you already have from me. That is freedom, my child. It is the freedom to walk forward as yourself, without constantly adjusting who you are in order to earn someone else's approval. I also want to speak to the quiet doubts that sometimes linger after a message like this settles into your heart. There are moments when you wonder whether the purpose you sense is truly real, or whether it is simply a hope you want to believe. I understand those questions. My child, both feelings can exist at the same time. Yet consider this. The longing you carry for purpose did not appear by accident. The desire for something deeper, something meaningful, was placed within you by me. I do not plant those longings without intention. The very hunger you feel for a deeper calling is itself evidence that the calling exists. The desire stirring within your heart is not meaningless. It is a reminder that I am still at work, still leading, and still drawing you toward what I have prepared. There is no need to force yourself into a confidence you do not genuinely feel yet. Faith has never required the complete absence of questions. Faith is choosing to keep moving forward even when uncertainty still lingers at the edges of your thoughts. I am not asking you to eliminate every doubt before receiving what I am placing before you. I am asking you to take the next step anyway, trusting that understanding will continue to unfold as you walk. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. It cannot see the tree it will one day become. It simply continues growing, responding to a process it does not fully understand. You are living through a season much like that. Growth is taking place within you in ways you cannot yet measure, and the full shape of what is being formed will only become clear when you look back and see how far you have come. Do not become discouraged by the pace of this growth. I know there are days when it feels slow and difficult to recognize. Yet growth often feels uncertain from the inside. It is usually only in hindsight that the pattern becomes visible and the purpose begins to make sense. I am with you throughout this process, closer than you often realize. There were moments when you felt alone in the waiting, alone in the questions, alone in the uncertainty. Yet those were often the moments when I was working most deeply, shaping what could not be rushed and strengthening what could not be built overnight. Trust the quiet work that is taking place. What is built slowly often lasts far longer than what is built in haste. My child, a new way of living is opening before you. It is no longer shaped by fear of what might go wrong, but by trust in what I have already prepared. For a long time you moved through life carefully, protecting yourself from disappointment before it had even arrived. You held your hopes at a distance because it seemed safer than risking another wound. I am calling you beyond that way of living. I am inviting you into something more open, more peaceful, and far more free. This change may not always appear dramatic to those around you. Often the deepest transformations happen quietly. They show up in the calmness that settles over your decisions, in the steadiness that begins to guide your days, and in the confidence that grows naturally within you. You will enter spaces differently than before. You will carry yourself with a peace that no longer depends on everything going perfectly. Your words will carry a steadiness that was once difficult to find. People may not be able to explain what has changed, yet they will sense it. They will notice something different, because something truly is different. I am releasing you from patterns that once kept you small. Some of those patterns were built on the belief that you had to earn rest or prove your value before you could finally feel at peace with yourself. For a time, those habits may have felt necessary. They may even have served as protection during difficult seasons, but they are no longer needed now. Holding on to them will only slow the freedom I am inviting you to experience. So let them go gently. Release the pressure to constantly prove yourself. Release the belief that your worth must be earned. Step into the freedom of being who I created you to be. Allow me to bless you as you enter this new season of life. May the clarity you have gained continue to deepen with each passing day. May the peace settling over your spirit remain steady, even when circumstances around you shift. May your relationships be filled with honesty, understanding, and genuine connection where confusion once existed. May the work of your hands produce fruit that lasts and reaches beyond your own life. May you rest peacefully at night, free from the restless worries that once kept your mind turning long after the day was over. May you wake with purpose in your heart instead of heaviness. May the doors that seemed permanently closed open at exactly the right moment, according to the timing that serves you best. May provision meet you through my faithful care rather than through endless striving. May your mind be filled with clarity when confusion tries to settle in. May your heart carry courage that does not depend upon having every answer in advance. And may your spirit be strengthened with a quiet resilience that becomes a source of comfort to those around you. You are becoming a place of peace for others, not because you possess every answer, but because the peace I have nurtured within you naturally extends outward. People will find comfort in your presence because they sense the steadiness that has been formed within you through this journey. This new season invites something from you in return, not as payment and not as a condition, but as a natural response to what you have received. I am asking you to walk gently with those who are still carrying the kind of burdens you once carried. There are people still moving through seasons of confusion and heaviness, wondering whether anyone truly understands what they are facing. You now carry a deeper understanding than before. Sometimes your presence alone will be enough to bring comfort. Sometimes your calmness will speak more loudly than words ever could. Do not rush past people who are still walking through difficult places. Remember what it felt like to need encouragement and understanding. The restoration unfolding in your life was never meant to remain with you alone. It is also meant to become a light for others who are still searching for their way forward. You do not need to explain every detail of your journey. You do not need to convince anyone of what I have done. Simply live from the peace you have been given and allow that peace to speak for itself. As you continue forward, hold loosely to old expectations about how your life was supposed to unfold. I am building something better than the version you once imagined. I am shaping something that fits the person you are becoming, rather than the person you used to be. Let go of outdated timelines and old definitions of success. What I have prepared reaches beyond what you could have planned for yourself. Trying to force this new season into an old framework will only limit your ability to receive what is ahead. Trust that I know how to lead you into what is best for you. There is freedom in releasing the need to control every outcome. There is peace in trusting that the same hand that carried you through hidden struggles will continue guiding you through everything that comes next. Rest in that truth. Rest in the knowledge that you do not have to hold everything together on your own. You have already done the difficult work of enduring. Let this season become a season of receiving, rather than striving, but it become a season of trust rather than force. Walk gently into what I have prepared instead of trying to push your way toward it. I know releasing old habits of striving takes time. You have spent so many years pushing harder, working longer, and trying to secure every outcome through your own effort. That rest may feel unfamiliar at first. It may even feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort does not mean you are doing something wrong. It simply means you are learning a new way to live, like a posture that feels unfamiliar after years of tension and constant movement. Be patient with yourself as you learn this new rhythm. It is not failure to need time adjusting to peace after spending so long adapting to struggle. Healing has its own pace, and learning how to rest can take just as much grace as learning how to endure. Pay attention to the way you respond now to situations that once would have overwhelmed you. A delay that once sent your thoughts racing now meets a steadier version of you, someone who can wait without panic because you trust the one who holds the timing. A disappointment that once would have confirmed every fear now finds a heart that can feel the pain, release it, and continue moving forward. That change is not something you created through effort alone. What you are experiencing is the result of work I have been doing beneath the surface for a long time. Long before you recognized the signs, I was strengthening you from within. You are not growing stronger simply because you tried harder. You are growing stronger because your roots have gone deeper into me, and it is the depth of those roots that determines how well you stand when storms arrive. Allow this new way of living to settle naturally into every area of your life. Some changes will happen quickly, almost before you realize they have happened. Others will unfold more slowly, requiring patience and continued trust. Neither is wrong. Both are part of the same beautiful process of becoming who I have always intended you to be. My precious child, we have walked through much together in this message. We began with the weight you had been carrying, moved through the unveiling of what had been working against you, and arrived at the restoration now taking root in your life. I do not want you to treat these words as a single encouraging moment that fades with time. I want them to become part of the way you live each day. Let this be the beginning of a life marked by trust, by peace, and by a growing awareness of my presence. You did not arrive at this message by accident. I have been preparing this moment longer than you know, waiting until your heart was ready to receive it fully. The timing of this encounter carries the same care and intention that I have woven throughout your journey. As you move forward, carry a settled confidence with you. Not confidence that comes from having every answer, but confidence that comes from knowing the one who does. Let that confidence steady you in conversations that once made you anxious. Let it steady you in decisions that once left you frozen with uncertainty. Let it steady you even in the ordinary moments when nothing dramatic is happening at all. I want to remind you again that nothing you endured was wasted. Every sleepless night, every burden you struggled to explain, every moment you wondered whether anyone truly saw what you were carrying, I saw it all. Every part mattered, and every part has been woven into something far greater than the struggle itself. You are not the same person who first entered that difficult season. You have been refined by it. You have been strengthened through it. You have been prepared by it. Do not look back with regret over how long the journey lasted. Time spent in genuine struggle is never wasted when it produces deeper compassion, greater wisdom, and a faith that has been tested and proven true. You now carry something precious. You carry a trust that has been through the fire and remains standing, not untouched, but transformed, not destroyed, but purified. That kind of faith cannot be manufactured. It is formed through walking with me one step at a time. As you continue forward, remember that you never walk alone. I am with you in the quiet moments and the noisy ones. I am with you in the easy decisions and the difficult ones. I am with you in seasons filled with clarity and in seasons where questions still remain. My presence does not depend on how strongly you feel it on any given day. Whether you sense me clearly or barely at all, I am still here. Lean into that truth, especially when emotions feel uncertain. Release the pressure to have everything figured out before taking the next step. Faith has never required complete understanding. It requires willingness to keep moving forward with the light you have been given. You do not need a map for your entire future today. You only need enough light for the next step in front of you, and that is exactly what I am providing. Trust that additional clarity will come as you continue walking. You do not have to see the whole road before you begin. When doubt tries to return, come back to the truths you have received here. When old fears whisper that nothing has changed, remind yourself of what has already shifted. The hidden struggles have been addressed. Restoration is already unfolding. What I have established over your life remains secure whether your emotions feel strong or weak on any particular day. Walk forward now with your head lifted, not with pride, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are deeply loved and carefully watched over. Release the smallness that fear once taught you. Release the habit of shrinking back to avoid attention, staying silent to avoid conflict, or hiding parts of yourself because it once felt safer than being seen. You are safe to be who you are. Some people will notice the change in you and be drawn toward it. They will sense the peace, the steadiness, and the confidence that have begun to take root within you. Others may feel uncomfortable because your growth no longer allows you to make yourself smaller for their comfort. That is not yours to manage. You do not need to control how people respond to your growth. Your responsibility is simply to continue growing. My love for you has never depended on your performance, your mood, or your circumstances. It has remained constant through every season of your life, through both the difficult chapters and the peaceful ones. As this message comes to a close and you return to your day, carry that constant love with you. Let it steady you when uncertainty appears. Let it comfort you when old fears try to return. Let it remind you again and again that you are held, you are seen, and you are deeply and unchangingly loved. In the ordinary moments ahead, the meals you share, the work you return to, the conversations that fill your day, I will still be present. You may not always notice my presence, but it will remain real. Faith is not built only in powerful moments like this. It is built in ordinary days, lived with the quiet awareness that you are never walking alone. Let this truth settle into the rhythm of your everyday life. Do not reserve it only for moments of inspiration or clarity. Carry it with you into the ordinary. This is not the end of what I am saying to you. It is simply the closing of this particular message, one part of an ongoing conversation between us. Stay open to my voice. Stay attentive to my presence. Stay close to me and watch how the story continues to unfold. You will find a peace and a clarity that carry you further than you once imagined possible. Declare your faith one final time today. Say, I am yours, and I will walk forward in peace. This message is made possible through viewer support. If you would like to support this work and access additional content, please use the QR code or the support link provided in the description. God bless you.